Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. It's the Large Guys Podcast. It's the best show not on television. I'm your host, Joseph Kirai. We are joined today by a very special guest. This is one of those things that we like to do called the Large Guys Fight Bites, where we talk about MMA, pro wrestling, boxing, just any type of fighting stuff. A lot of the guys in the show that we've had, my co-hosts especially, love to talk about fighting. And something I really like to do and something I'm really passionate and I love is the wrestling business. And I also love being able to just interact with wrestlers at shows and also have them on as guests for interviews. And today we have another guest here from, I live in Dallas right now, so a local wrestler, someone that I've had a chance to see for about a year now. I've been going to shows locally just for about a year or two. And someone that has definitely been making waves and has definitely become a staple in Dallas wrestling and VIP wrestling, DFW All Pro especially, is our guest today, Exodus Prime. Exodus, just let everybody know how you're doing, how you're feeling, what you're all about.
Oh yeah, man. I'm feeling really good, man. I got a lot of matches this weekend, so I'm kind of a little anxious. As you mentioned, DFW/VIP tomorrow with a Champion is Born 4. I will be going for the Smash Mouth title against Cole Carter. I'm going to take that title from him. So that's one thing. There's one feeling I'm having. I'm feeling confident I'm going to take his title. And then Saturday, I gotta do a 3-shot at Traders Village in Grand Prairie. Texas All-Star Wrestling is coming all the way down from Houston to host their 2-day village fair shows down there at Grand Prairie Traders Village. So I'm going to do those shows back to back. Then I'm going to head over to King of Sports to defend this bad baby, this beautiful bad baby, the King of Sports Grappler's title against Kilgore Nix. And he's been turning it up and doing his thing. But he's got a real challenge. He's got the ultimate challenge. So that's what my Saturday looking like. And then I'm going to top it off with 2 more shows at Traders Village. Here's what it's called. I said Village for Traders Village in Grand Prairie. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, Traders Village in Grand Prairie. That's where it's going to be Saturday and Sunday, 12 p.m., 3 p.m. And I'm going to do that double shot on Sunday. So like I say, man, as always, just busy wrestling. And that's what I'm about, man. Wrestling, collecting these championships, letting people know who I am and what I do and what I'm about.
For sure, yeah. You talk about the life of a wrestler is very busy, especially on weekends. What is it like trying to balance that? We were just talking before we started recording. You're a family man, you're a father, your husband as well. And you have a job as well, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it like just being able to balance that? Because I'm sure you have so many aspirations as a wrestler, still pretty early on in your career, and try to continue to make your name and make waves in this industry and just get your name out. What is it like trying to balance that and trying to keep busy and just kind of stand out and shine in this position along with everything else that you have that's important to you in your life?
Man, that's a deep-rooted question. And man, like you say, it's about finding that balance, man. Fortunately, for me, I have a wife who's really understanding about like what I'm doing and the time it takes and the sacrifices it takes. So that kind of helps to have that support system. Usually on weekends, normally I'm a homebody, so I don't do nothing on the weekends anyway. So usually wrestling gives us something to do, or really gives me something to do. So the balance is there, man. I'm a personal trainer during the week, so pretty much I make my own schedule, and then that's not feeling like work anymore because that's also something that I'm passionate about, helping change people's lives through fitness. So like I say, the balance was always challenging because it is time consuming, especially when you're going through your training. It's very, very, very time consuming. But as you get deeper, more rooted, yes, the schedule gets busy, but you learn how to maintain it. You learn how to balance it. And and for me, it's just all it's about. I just know that all my weekends are going to be centered around wrestling until I am where I want to be. And fortunately, my family, my friends, and everyone, they understand that and they support that.
That's awesome. So talk to me a little bit about how you got your start in wrestling. I know you're a local guy, so I
Mhm.
just kind of assume that maybe DFW All Pro Wrestling Academy has been where you started from the beginning. Is that true?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Like I was actually going to try to start my wrestling journey in my early 20s, straight out of college. Um, Pretty much when I dropped out of college, I decided I wanted to become a wrestler. And so at first I was looking into schools, I would search schools, and it was only like a handful of probably like a couple schools that would pop up. That was Killerton Brook School, where a lot of people that are killing the business now graduated from, like Barrett Brown, the late Jason Silver, and many others. I can't really think about on top of my head. There was also the I think it's called the Texas Wrestling Academy, that was used to be owned by Shawn Michaels, and also Reality of Wrestling with Booker T. And I think it was called something different back about 12 years ago when I was looking. But it was Booker T school. So those are really the only three that would pop up. And I was just lazy, man. Like when I was younger, man. Like the closest one was Killer Tam Brooks was in Waxahachie. And it was only about 20, 25 minutes for me. And I didn't, it's like, that's too far. And so, but that's just how I was raised, man. Anything longer than 15 minutes is going out of town, man. So, because I'm a urban boy, like everything is close to me, and
Mhm.
so anything outside of that is like traveling too far. So, and I ended up meeting my ex-wife, and then we ended up, starting a life together, and then kind of put it on hold. And then at about 26, that's when I decided, like, man, I wanted to try to do this before my 30s, and throughout the years, man, I would message schools because more and more would pop up, and DFW actually would pop up a lot. And I would actually message Lugatti a lot or Lamont Williams a lot throughout the years. And it's funny, when I actually signed up and I went through our message history, you can see from like over like the previous 3 to 4 years of me reaching out, like, hey man, you have a training center, and then he'd be like, yeah, come for a tryout, and like I'd be like, all right, and I never show up. And then I just finally decided to like, I was overweight, and so I said, well, if I can't lose weight, then I can't wrestle. And I ended up losing 50 pounds in 2 months. And then later on that year, I started training to be a wrestler at DFW All Pro Wrestling because they moved closer to me in the area that I'm always in. So I was like, if I don't do it now, then I'm just talking the talk. You know what I'm saying? I ain't walking the walk. And then after I did the tryout, I just knew this is where I was supposed to be.
Awesome, yeah. And so, have you always gone under the name of Exodus Prime? Has that just always been you? Can you just kind of give me a little bit of an insight on like how you even came up with that name? Because it's definitely one that stands out. It's very different.
Yeah, so man, it's actually random. It's kind of like with my old rap name. Like I just chose two words that I like that sounded good together. Like it's really no meaning behind Exodus Prime. It was just like, okay, I need a wrestling name. What do I like? And like literally within like 5 seconds, I just, at first it was gonna be Exodius Prime actually. Because I no, so if there is actually a meaning, but I'm lying. It was gonna be Exodius Prime because I want to do like the thing from Yu-Gi-Oh,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
5 parts of Exodius.
yeah.
And so I was just gonna like over my career, like as I get better and better, I'll be collecting those parts to become like the final boss, Exodius Prime. But someone told me that Exodius was just a little bit too long. And so that was, I just try to find a way to shorten it. And then I just shortened it to Exodus Prime, and then that's just how it was made.
Nice, nice. Um, when it comes to, I guess, like the way you move in the ring and different moves that you like to do, I feel like there is definitely an inspiration from like anime and stuff like that, and like fighting games. Can you just kind of
Yes, sir.
speak to a little bit about that, and what kind of makes, like it's not just the name, it's not just the, how you talk and how you act, but it's also like what you do to execute in the ring. So how
Yeah.
how does that all come together to make who you are today?
Yeah, man, like all my life, man, I wanted to be a ninja and a Power Ranger, man, or some type of superhero, man. So like, wrestling, you can be whatever you want to be, honestly. So, um, video games before wrestling, what kept me out of trouble growing up. Being from Oak Cliff is a lot of things that I could have got mixed up in. And it was a lot of people around me get mixed up in those things, but I was always buried in video games from, the regular Nintendo to the Atari to Super Nintendo to 64 PlayStation, and I've always been a game head. I always love video games. I always love like cartoons and stuff. So um when I became a wrestler, I just want to incorporate the things similar to how I do my music. I just want to incorporate the things that I enjoy, the things that makes me me. I just want to incorporate that into my character, into my move set. And just honestly, a lot of us are gamers, so it's just a cool thing just to see someone, winning a match or promise someone up to win a match with a Hadouken or a 6-inch punch or something like that, or the Tony Jai elbow, because I love martial arts movies. I'm always just trying to incorporate the things that I used to always try to do with my friends. And all the, I just try to incorporate those things into my move set just to try to stand out.
For sure, for sure. Since you mentioned that you are a big gamer, especially growing up, and I assume still now, what would you say is your favorite video game all time?
Man, my favorite video game of all time is kind of hard to pinpoint, man. But like, if I just go off the games that I beat the most, um, it have to be. I mean, it's actually a tie, man. It's between the Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, and Final Fantasy VIII.
Okay.
It's just those are the two games I done beat the most in my life. I'd probably beat each of those games about 15 times a piece. And I'm usually one of those type of people. I'm like one and done with the game, you know what I'm saying? Or I maybe, the only other game I probably played multiple times was Skyrim, but I won't even put Skyrim in my top 5 of of all time games. But I beat it the most. But it just, I guess, Final Fantasy VIII and Legend of Zelda is just really what made me a gamer. That's what really started to mold me as a like my interest growing up, because I was 6 or 7 or maybe 8 when the Ocarina of Time came out. I was about maybe 8 when Final Fantasy 8 came out. So like I say, those are the games that really just had me like, man, video games are awesome. They're like they can do it all.
For sure, for sure. So would you say that like the story-based type of video games are probably like the more fun to play just because it's like more interesting and it keeps you kind of like more locked in?
I would say like it's to me gameplay is more important. Because there's a lot of games that like people that's revered and loved and by people that I just couldn't get into. Like for example, Mass Effect. I think it's like it probably has an amazing story, but usually with games, like when I play a game I want to play. You know what I'm saying? I love making choices, and but when I would make those choices to Max Effect and I would actually play the game, at least at that time, it just at least when I was growing up, it just wasn't the game for me. But like I always just like with Final Fantasy and Legend of Zelda, like Legend of Zelda, yes, this has a story, but it's pretty much the same old story every game.
Yeah.
So like I don't really have to pay attention to the story, but that doesn't make the game any less great. It's like, well, go save the princess once again. She just can't stay out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? You like, but then it's just there are ways of like the world building, like even with the silent protagonist. I'm still one of those people like I don't I'm not a big stickler for like voice acting in games. I still love like text-based games. I don't have to have voice acting. So that's why those games have always stood out to me, because they do tell their stories in a way to where, yeah, I know sometimes Final Fantasy 8 can be long-winded, but at the time when I was 8 years old, seeing, almost Disney Pixar like movie cutscenes in the game. Yeah, I'm going to watch that. But I guess as I got older and more games start being accessible and time start getting shorter, it's just time to get down to the gameplay. You know what I mean?
I feel that. I feel that. Do you play any like wrestling games? Do you have any like favorite wrestling games of all time?
Oh man, yeah, like I'm thinking about getting a new WWE game, man, but I haven't played a WWE game in about 5, 6 years, man. Like since I became a wrestler, it's been like super duper hard to get back into wrestling games. And it's weird because it doesn't simulate what wrestling really is. So it's kind
Right.
of hard. It's kind of hard, like for me to play it to play them now because it's just not the same. But I will say that the new WWE game looks very interesting. I'm excited to see what the AEW game is going to look like. I'm a big fan of the Fire Pro games. Those are dope. But like, yeah, so I haven't played a wrestling game in a while, but to me, my favorite wrestling game of all time. I know people like to say, "Here comes the pain," but for me, it's No Mercy. Like on the 64, like to me, that was a perfect wrestling game, man. Like and I love the SmackDown games, but like, and I remember SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, which to me was my favorite SmackDown game because it was just way over the top. You know what I'm saying? Like in a good way.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like right now, I'm not really playing any wrestling games right now.
Okay.
I wrestle almost 150 plus times a year. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I get I get enough wrestling right now.
I feel that. I feel that. When it comes to being a wrestler and trying to make this dream come true, I'm sure there's a lot of detail that goes into it. When it comes to just training and being around DFW All Pro, especially, I'm sure that's where you're at most often. When it comes to training and stuff.
So,
How important is it for you to, like, when it comes to like dissecting like a match or like a certain opponent or even like watching things back, like how much time do you think you're putting into kind of like the things behind the scenes that we don't as fans see
um,
besides you in a match?
yes, sir. Like I say, it's kind of like with anything, with any sport or like anything in life, you always gotta know what your opponent is doing so you can prepare for it, right? Like I said, as far as training, like I said, I do train at DFW from time to time, and it's still my home. But right now, I'm currently a trainer at MPX Wrestling, which is based in Bedford, Texas. Which they run every Saturday.
Yeah.
And that's owned by Athena and Matt Palmer and another awesome wrestling family. They used to attend the shows all the time. And when the previous owner was done with the business and want to sell it and be done with it, they decided to go ahead and keep MPX living. So that's right now, that's where I train. Like I'm a trainer, so I get to pass on my knowledge to like the next upcoming generation of wrestlers, which is awesome. But like it's very important to always, hone your craft, like not only in the ring, but also like in the gym, you know what I'm saying? Like to stay to keep your body in the best shape it can be, to keep your conditioning up point, because all is important, especially for someone like me, and a lot of other wrestlers who's like constantly wrestling, grinding. Like this is hard on our bodies, and then when it's getting hard on our bodies, it get hard on us mentally. So, keeping your body in top form, like in a gym, and then honing your craft, like in the ring and training. Just like my home, like my coach, Lugatti always say, training is forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm always training. I'm always getting better. I'm always refining my move set. I'm always studying my opponents. I'm always knowing, what's going on, at least in my general vicinity, so I can know who I may potentially face, so we can pull the best out of each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important.
For sure, for sure. All right, we're gonna shift a little bit away from wrestling and talk a little bit about food. I know when we talked a couple weeks ago, I told you like one of the things that we do on this podcast, we talk about food a lot, and you said that you also love food as well.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you are you a big like cook? Are you like a chef in the kitchen type, or do you like to just try all different places? No, you're not a cook type of thing. So when it comes to your food, like what do you enjoy most about it? Is it just like being able to try new things? Is it having like certain things that just always remind you of like home, or like I don't know, something that just makes you feel like comfortable or whatever? Like
Yeah.
what is it about food?
Man, like honestly, when it comes to food, man, I like simple. You know what I mean? Like I'm really basic when it comes to food. Like I can live off sandwiches and chips. Like I can eat that for the rest of my life. But now like as I get older, and especially when it comes to like nutrition and stuff, I've learned to to savor food a little bit more, to eat slower and
Yeah.
savor. So, and which lead and like as I get older, it's also led me to try newer things. Like when I was younger, I didn't like vegetables like broccoli and lettuce, like none of that type of things. Pico, the guy on stuff like that. Like it was just meat, bread, and cheese, like all the time. But like now I love it all, you know what I'm saying? And like it's easier for me to try new things. But with that being said, I don't like to try new things if I have to pay for it. And that's just being honest. Like, cause like if I don't like it and I pay for it, I'm gonna be upset.
I
So
feel
like
that.
it gotta be one of those things where it's free, or like maybe somebody got something like, hey, you want to try this? And I'm like, oh, that's good. I'll buy that, but I don't like to go to a new place and like, or even go to a familiar place and be like, oh, they got a new dish. I want to try it. No, I'm not going to stick to the tried and true, so I can get my money's worth.
I feel that I'm kind of the same way, especially when it comes to like places that I usually go to. It's like,
Mhm.
why would I try something new when I already know what I like, type of thing.
Exactly.
And that's what my mind's always set up on. What would you say is like your favorite type of food to eat?
Man, honestly, man, anything that they got carbs, man, like like pizza, pasta, bread, like any type of bread based or let's say carb based meal is my favorite meal, man. Cause like I say, just like sandwich and chips, man, or like a burrito, or like I say, a burger, pizza. Like, that's what I
Everything.
like to eat, man. Like basic American stuff,
Yeah,
hot dogs.
I feel that. Would you? I guess in like the Dallas area, are there like specific places that you like to go to, whether it's from where you grew up or where you live now, or even like in the areas that you wrestle in? Like, are there spots where like if you had to like put somebody on, let's say like I'm coming in and I'm never been to Dallas and I'm like, hey, what's good here? Like, what should I go? Where should I go first? What do you
Man,
recommend?
I'll be the worst person to ask, bro.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, man, when I tell you I'm a homebody, man, and I stick to the tried and true.
Okay.
Like, if you like, okay, I'm in Dallas, I'm like, well, man, we got Whataburger. You know what I'm
I
saying?
feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, shoot, I don't know, man. Like Taco Bell, man. I heard Fuel City is good. Like, I don't know,
It is
like
good.
I
Yeah.
said, because like I say, man, like when I was young, I used to get out. But even when I was younger, man, I used to go to very few places, man, and um, I would try places, but it was never anything that ever really just stuck out to me to where I'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I need to recommend this to people. But it's really just the tried and true things, like pretty much like chain places. Um, because I'm truly I'm a homebody. I go to work, then I come home, then I go to training to the gym. I come home, then I go wrestle, then I come home. Like that's literally my life. I'm the most boring person. Like outside of wrestling, I'm the most boring person in the world.
Okay, I got you. So you definitely are someone that appreciates like home cooking and stuff whenever you
Oh
get to,
yeah,
for sure. Is there anything that like reminds you of just like growing up when it comes to like a home cooked meal?
like pork chops,
Okay.
mashed potatoes,
Yeah.
macaroni with some sweet jiffy cornbread. Yeah, man. And you see, I just named a whole bunch of carbs.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Hey,
that's
it's okay.
really it, man. That's what reminds me of home. Like my granny cooking, man. my granny just cooking it up. But that was always my favorite meal, like either smothered pork chops or some fried pork chops or some baked pork chops. Man, and you know what's crazy? I've had pork chops in like 6 years.
Dang.
I haven't had that meal in 6 years. And it's not because, you know, it's because I try to stay away from it because it's so carb heavy. You know what I mean? Like usually when I eat that, and then pork is not the best protein for you, you know what I'm
Me too.
saying? So
Me too.
it's like I love it, man, but like I say, I can eat chicken and mashed potatoes and broccoli and I'll probably get the same feeling, you know what I'm saying? So and it's better for my body. So
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Yeah, I found like a pork chop recipe at like the end of last year, and I like fell in love with it because everything like came together and it tasted good. And I had like carrots and some other like vegetables with it, and I was like, man, this is really good. And like
yep.
potatoes and stuff. I'm definitely a meat and potatoes type of person.
Potato
Um,
is good, man.
but after like I finished, I was like, man, I was like, I cannot be eating this too often because
Yep.
I'm the same way. Like when it comes to like meat, especially like chicken is what I try to stick to as much as I can to
Hmm.
keep healthy as well. Because I mean, for me, like I'll try anything. I'll eat anything, and I love burgers and steak and all that stuff. But like you said too, like for me, I'm the same way. Like I used to be an athlete. Um, in college, like I played soccer, and so
Awesome.
I could get away with eating whatever I wanted to because I was just very active. But now that like my body's slowed down, like I have to like kind of be a little more selective, and it hurts
Yeah.
sometimes. I'm sure you feel the same way. Like it hurts
Yeah.
sometimes. You haven't had pork chops in 6 years. It's kind of wild, but it's just how it's got to be, especially when you get a little older. It is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, okay, so we're coming up on the end. I know you said you had to go in a little bit, but I just had a couple more questions for you.
Yes,
The
sir.
first one is in terms of just like goals that you have maybe for like the next couple of years. What are your like big aspirations in wrestling and where you want to be in your career?
Like you said, obviously, it's to be signed to one of the big. I guess it's the one of the big four now. Rather, and I'm not. Well, we know what the big two is. So I don't want to offend anybody else about naming the other two.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm signed to someone who can like to where me working a job is an option for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just trying to I'm already able to do it part-time and be able to work part-time. So which is cool. But I'm trying to get to the next level so I can do it full-time and I'm signed and like week in, week out, it's surrounded by wrestling. That's what I really want. And I think it's possible, like you can never say never. And I've always been told not to have a timeline because that's what makes you not enjoy the journey. Especially when you're not like when you're not hitting your timeline exactly how you want it. Um, but like I say, man, but right now that's just my goal within, if ideally, um, but realistically, man, I'm just trying to at least for the next couple of years, just continue being happy doing this because that's what's keeping me going. I'm still having like a blast. Knock on wood. No major injuries. No major injuries. So hope I can stay healthy. What I'm saying, like I'm going on 5 years in June. And I'm going on 3 years of like wrestling nonstop every weekend. And like if I can do I done did, within the last 2.5 years, 300 plus matches with no injuries. So I be trying to tell these like the feds, man, I'm like, hey, I'm built for this, man. Like I
Yeah.
can go and like I was saying, and these are not just matches that's getting mailed in or taking it easy, as they say. It's I'm I'm having those matches where oftentimes wrestlers, promoters, and fans alike are always saying to me, man, you have the match of the night or you are my favorite match. So like I say, like as long as I can keep doing that, hopefully I can keep getting that buzz and then hopefully the promotions that I work with can give me those opponents that can get those eyes on me, and we can make it happen.
For sure, for sure. And my last question for you is, we talked at the beginning of this interview about your character, Exodus Prime, and like I said, something that really stands out about you, just kind of like the presence that you have. A lot of times, at least every time that I've seen you wrestle, you worked heel, and it seems like it's something that you really enjoy. And something I noticed from interacting with you at the last show is that like you're very, and even just here in this interview, you're very different from that persona and that character. So how do you get into that type of character, being like the final boss and talking that shit in the ring and like outside of the ring too, to like fans
Yeah.
and stuff like that, like because I think what I enjoy about heels the most is like whenever they're able to just like say stuff off the cuff, whether it's in the ring during a match or to fans before or in like a promo or whatever. So how do you become that person?
I mean, if I'm being honest, man, like it's like they say, man, like the best characters are the real you just dialed up to like 1,000. You know what I'm saying? And Exodus Prime is really like the younger me, the younger like wilder me, who didn't have a fist, who didn't give a damn, who just wanted to watch the world burn and just wanted to whoop everybody's ass. You know what I'm saying? That's it. And then I've always been, to a lot of people, a class clown, or to some people, I like to be the center of attention. So when people have eyes on me, like it just, I'm like, man, I'm gonna go out there and be the center of attention. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So, like I say, so for me, it just put me honestly my natural element, because like I said, I'm naturally charismatic. I'm naturally outgoing. I'm naturally, out there, you know what I'm saying? So um and I'm naturally like a character, you know what I'm saying? So when I go out there, I'm really just, being, the person that I want to be, that I can't be, because it's not going to be good for real life. But you know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
But in wrestling is amazing. So it's just one of those things where I can let my my alter ego or my inner self out, and it's okay.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I really appreciate that, especially with heels. People that usually work heel is it's just the way that they're able to keep that presence about them. Because like I'll give you an example. Like I think the first time I ever like met Shane Taylor when he
Mhm.
wasn't wrestling, I was like nervous because I had just seen him like perform and like he was, he's always talking crazy, whether it's to people in the ring or on the outside as well. And then when I came up to him, he's like, "Oh man, what's up? How you doing?" Like he's very like appreciative of everything and very different. I was just like, man, like it's super cool to be able to like I think it's really cool to see wrestlers when they perform, but also just to talk to the person
Yes,
afterwards.
sir.
It's again something that like for me as a fan and somebody who loves wrestling, like I can appreciate you even more knowing a little bit more about who you are as a
Yep.
person, kind of connect a little bit more. So I think that's always a great thing. So that's going to conclude our interview. First of all, I just want to thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule. I know you're always doing something. You're
Yes, sir, man.
doing something important and something you love, and so it's just an honor to be able to have this time to just chop it up with you a little bit. Hopefully, this isn't the last time that
That
we have
won't be.
an interview, of course. And but before we go, if you'd like to just plug anything on your socials, let people know where they can find you on like Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that.
Yes, sir. Like I said, on Instagram and Twitter, it will be the_mass_exodus. Or just search Exodus Prime. It'll search up you just search Exodus Prime on Facebook, it'll be there. Also, I do music. I just released a dope album a couple weeks ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
But I also got 4 albums on there, 3 beat tapes. So there's 7 projects I got on there, fully produced by yours truly, all written by me. I got a few features. I got a feature from a couple wrestlers. Even my theme song at DFW, Know Your Worth, for my group Property Yourself, has Levi Lucas featured on it. So like I say, man, I have it everywhere, man. You just search my real name Miguel Starks. That's MA''Gayle Starks. That's like Tony Stark, but plural. So Miguel Starks. All right. And like I say, man, I wrestle every weekend. So just find me on social media. I'm always updating where I'm going to be, who head I'm going to be busting. So just follow me on those social medias, man. Follow me on all your major streaming platforms. And yeah.
Awesome. Again, thank you, Exodus Prime, for just taking the time to be here on this episode, on this recording, this interview. For us, you can just keep rocking with us at the Large Guys Podcast. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can find us also on Instagram and Twitter. We're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Basically, anywhere that you can listen to a podcast or watch a podcast, we're most likely there. So just keep looking out for other things that we have going on. We have so many ideas. We talk a lot about food on our main show. So, we just posted a donut episode. We're taste testing snacks from like these different places and stuff like that coming soon. And we also love to talk about wrestling and sports and everything else in between. So keep rocking with us. Stay on the lookout. Stay on the lookout for Exodus Prime. He's making waves, especially if you're in the Dallas area and you love wrestling. You got to check out this guy. You got to watch one of his matches live. It's electric. It's always a great time. And like he said, he always steals the show. So keep rocking with us. Check out Exodus Prime. And until we see you guys next time, peace out and God bless.